So if you've hit your 40s and noticed that your old workouts just aren't doing the trick anymore, you're not alone. In fact, some of the most popular fitness trends out there right now, or the ones we were taught to swear by in our 20s and 30s, might actually be making things worse, especially when it comes to stubborn belly fat, low energy, and that wired but tired feeling that never seems to go away. Hi, I'm Kobe, a fitness and nutrition coach, especially for those of us in our 40s. Today, I'm going to break down 5 fitness trends that I do not recommend in your 40s, and I'll explain why they can actually backfire on your hormones, metabolism, and mood. We're going to talk about cortisol, visceral fat, overtraining, and the real reason that pushing harder isn't always better now. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but still not seeing the results you want, let's talk about what's actually going on. Let's start with a big one, high intensity cardio or high intensity everything. The workouts that leave you feeling breathless, drenched, and sometimes wondering if you're going to pass out or throw up. In our 20s, it might have felt like that was a badge of honor, but in our 40s, it can actually worsen fat retention and exhaustion. Here's why. When we push too hard, too often, especially with HIIT, boot camps, high impact classes, our body actually responds with increasing cortisol, which is the body's primary stress response. An elevated level of cortisol is increasing your visceral fat. This is the type of fat around your organs, particularly around your midsection. It's not like that pinchable fat under your skin. Visceral fat is deeper and it's associated with inflammation, insulin resistance, disrupted sleep, and hormone imbalance. Also other diseases like heart disease and diabetes. So when we're doing super intense workouts day after day, especially if we're not eating enough to support this and sleeping enough to support this, it creates a kind of stress overload that can actually keep us stuck in a fat storing, energy crashing cycle. I'm not saying that HIIT is bad because it has its place, but in our 40s, we need more recovery time and more balance here. If you feel like it's benefiting you and you're noticing benefits from it, then 1 or 2 HIIT sessions per week can be good for you. And when we pair that with walking and strength training and gentle movement that supports your hormones instead of spiking them, it can actually be a beneficial part of your fitness program. On the other hand, if you don't notice these benefits, but just exhaustion, doing these high intensity workouts, if you've never done them before, are not necessarily the place to start. We need to start working with our body instead of seeing it as the adversary that needs to be conquered. It's not about doing less, it's about doing smarter and giving your body what it needs in this season of life. Next up is fasted workouts, often promoted as a fat burning shortcut. Now, here's the thing. Most of the research promoting fasted workouts as effective for fat loss is based on men. Men have a 24-hour hormone cycle and their systems tend to respond more predictably to stressors like fasting and training in a fasted state. But for women, especially those of us over 40, our hormonal landscape is far more complex and we operate on a monthly hormone rhythm. And in perimenopause and menopause, that rhythm becomes even more sensitive. When we wake up and immediately stress the body with exercise without fuel, it can trigger a stronger cortisol response, which keeps us in a fat storing mode, not a fat burning mode. And let's not forget that your body needs energy to build muscle and to recover properly. So rather than fasted workouts, I recommend having a small balanced pre-workout snack. Something simple like half a protein smoothie, Greek yogurt with berries, or banana with nut butter. We need a little bit of carbohydrate and a little bit of protein to support our body here. It doesn't have to be a big meal. You don't have to be full going into the workout. It just has to be enough to tell your body that you're safe, you're fueled, and you can thrive in this workout that you're going to do and not spike your cortisol instead. We already talked about how cortisol and visceral fat are connected. Trend number 3 is relying on cardio as your main strategy for weight loss. This one has been drilled into us for decades, especially in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Burn calories, shrink down, repeat. But let's clear something up, that the real purpose of cardio is not for fat loss. It's to build stamina, to support our heart, and to support our lung health. Cardio is essential, but it should be seen as a tool to support our energy systems, our brain, our mental clarity, and our resilience. What it won't do on its own is build muscle, support bone density, or radically shift your body's composition. That's where strength training and metabolic balance come in. So if you've been doing 45-minute cardio sessions, maybe even 60, 5 days a week, and feeling frustrated, it's not your fault, it's just outdated advice. In our 40s, the magic is in the mix. a couple cardio sessions to support your aerobic capacity, bonus points if you love that cardio session. There are so many different ways to get cardio in that the main thing is that you enjoy that cardio. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's going for a run, maybe it's riding your bike, maybe it's swimming. If something's getting your heartbeat up and your lungs breathing heavy and you actually like how you feel during and after, you look forward to it. When you combine that with daily walking to regulate your stress and blood sugar and strength training to support your metabolism and your hormones, then that is the sweet spot. Another trend I'd love for us to skip is the quick fix mentality. The shred in 30 days or drop 10 pounds before summer or bikini body boot camps. These types of programs push extremes like very low calorie diets or daily intense workouts, basically unrealistic expectations that are really for short term. I like to promote the long term, the longevity, the feeling good in our body forever, not just for 30 days or 60 days or the months of summer. These types of programs might lead to short-term weight loss, and they might feel really supportive in the moment, but they so rarely support our long-term health and our overall hormone balance. In fact, they can often leave us feeling burnt out, disappointed, or like we failed when they don't stick. But it's not actually a willpower problem, it's a strategy problem. These approaches often work against your body instead of with it. So instead of thinking of a 30-day sprint, think of your wellness as a sustainable rhythm. We can focus on habits that support our energy, our sleep, our mood, and yes, of course, our strength and body composition too, over the long term. And I know it's not sexy marketing, but it works and it feels so much better. Last but not least is trend number 5, chasing aesthetics at the expense of function and energy. And what I want to be really clear about here is that there is nothing wrong with wanting to look good. We're human. Of course we do. We want to feel confident, we want our clothes to fit, and that's absolutely valid. But I also want to invite you to widen the lens here and start looking at how your body feels and functions every day. One of the women I work with, she's 62, came to me last year because she wanted to lose some weight and feel more confident in her clothes. That was her main goal. Over the course of the year, she stuck with the process, she started gaining strength, and she became more consistent. One day something shifted, and not just in her body, but in her mindset. She told me just the other day that when she first started, she would always do the low impact version. When I said burpee, she didn't even think her body could do more. But last class, she found herself doing the full burpee without even thinking about it, and she said it felt amazing. She had a moment of realization that yes, her clothes definitely fit better now, but more importantly, she's physically capable to move through her day with ease and with strength and confidence that she didn't have a year ago. And that's what I want for all of us. Yes, aesthetics can be a motivator, and that's totally okay. But let's celebrate what our body can do and how it can feel. Because when we focus on the function and energy, our aesthetic benefits will follow with a whole lot more joy and ease. So there we have it, the 5 fitness trends I recommend skipping in your 40s. Movement is essential. Our bodies were made for it. And choosing the right kind of movement makes all the difference, especially in our 40s. This is about doing what actually works for the body you have now. Your 40s are not the time to push harder just to keep up with outdated expectations or advice built for a different body, a different season, or let's be honest, a different gender. When you start training smarter, not harder, you'll feel this shift in your energy, in your confidence, in your strength, in your sleep, all of it. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Which trend do you feel like you've been holding on to? And which one are you ready to let go of? If you're ready for more guidance tailored for women in this season of life, I've got a free resource linked below that can help you get started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.